Surprise, motherfucker.
Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. Boog Nice coming at you with a quick update. Just a little quick tutorial in spacing and framing. I'm working here with the S.H.Figuarts DARTH MAUL, and I also have his speeder. I don't know what they label it as. Yeah, the Sith speeder back there. Everything here tangible. You know that I do not do any photoshopping. I don't do any like crazy color correction. Sometimes I'll take the pictures and maybe just up the saturation just a little bit to make it pop, make the colors pop a little bit in a simple app that I have on the phone, Photo Grid or Frame Magic or something like that. Just an enhancement to make the colors pop. But other than that, I don't add anything or take anything out digitally. I try to do everything, or I do everything tangibly. You know, I've talked about this before. I don't really even like too many shots that are like heavily Photoshop. There's a ton of really good creative great minds on Instagram doing great things, but sometimes when I see stuff that's just heavily Photoshop, it kind of takes the toy out of toy photography to me. It's something else at that particular point. So everything you see here 100% tangible. I will take this off the stand and show you how everything is done here, but you know, I went through a few little tricks and things to make everything look good to my liking here, and everything is framed up. You can see that I have worked within the frame of the viewer. I set up everything through the viewer so that way everything looks good and I could just start snapping pictures. I've said this millions of times, but people always ask me, and so I keep reiterating it here on the channel. So let me try something here. That's me up in the ISO a bit, the exposure. That may be a little overexposed, but the one thing that you really want to do is have your backdrop set up properly first and foremost, and it's got to have some space. You need some space between your backdrop. So yeah, you need some space between your backdrop. You hear my old bones cracking. So the backdrop is all the way back here just with some regular clips. So you can see it's just some clips, and there is some space between the backdrop and the actual diorama, and then I've got two bright lights hitting it evenly, and then you see the diorama, and then you see how I have the speeder bike up here on an old camera stand, because that was the stand that comes with the Sith speeder is a little it's black, so it's like it's not gonna help anything. And then I have some modular pieces set up strategically here. You can see I have DARTH MAUL on a couple of old Marvel Legends stands, and all of this stuff is set up strategically just so I can hide the stands. And then I have this little, whatever this thing is, I forget what they call it, there, and that's set up on a stand, and I got some light hitting the bottom. This is actually one of the parts from the Hot Toys homemade Spider-Man. So because it's clear, if you hit it with a little bit of light, which I'm doing here, then it'll make it a bit more translucent. So that way when I zoom in on Maul, then you know, it kind of looks like it's in flight, and that's sort of like a flight sort of motion there or something like that. So it's not too bad. If the background was white instead of blue, I could probably hide it a bit more, but again, up in the exposure would help too. Kind of makes Maul pop. And then whatever you want to do in camera, sometimes I'll mess with the contrast a little bit so the black will pop out a bit on his costume. It should be noted that this is not his robe. It works out a lot of times with the Star Wars Black Series robes, kind of work on the SHF figures. So this is the robe from Palpatine or Darth Sidious, and it works pretty well. I had to mess around with the hood part, and I used a little piece of wax on that right side to make this kind of stay down. Still not really the best, but it's okay. Also, gotta keep a roller. I see a little bit of lint there on his cloak at the bottom. I might be able to fix that, but you know, this is basically like a 20-minute setup though. I mean, all you need is a backdrop, some poster paper, some type of diorama. You don't necessarily need a diorama, but you need something to give you a little added depth in between your subjects and the backdrop, and set up your camera, set up some lights. I'm working with 2, 4, 5 lights here, and this is a daytime shot, so I'm not going to really use any colored light or anything like that. And that'll be that. If I want to go ahead and add the atmosphere, aerosol atmosphere in here, I might actually make this pop a bit more. That changes the lighting a bit. I've noticed it'll help the lighting to bring out the character a bit more. So maybe I'll work with that a little bit, but yeah, simple setup, 20 minutes, vanilla posed, and you can do this easily. All right, I'm getting out of here. Thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
Felony offenders.
That's crispy.
And you always got to shoot variants. So yeah, I just rearranged the rocks a little bit, broke out my Tuscan Raiders. This is Star Wars Black Series here. Changed the backdrop to my multicolored backdrop. You can see it's like a gradient color. My exposure is a little high right now. I'll fix all of that. And then I guess I'll try the aerosol here. Give me a little spray.
Where?
Just spray down. There you go.